Wait. Hold on, I got this. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, and Z. Yes, I sang it from beginning to end. Yes, I did. You know what Miss Patty's gonna do? She's gonna do it again. Everybody sing. Have you ever seen her do that?
Girl, all the songs in her catalog, and you choose her Sesame Street tea.
Okay, I had to back up. All right, here's so the other one I was deciding between, because I mean, come on, you that ABC,
and it's
Sesame.
cute. Her Sesame Street ABC,
and then when because first she starts off by saying, "All right, Chrissy, you know, like I need you to get it right on that piano," and she got those Sesame Street Muppets going to church by the end, like full A B C D E F G.
Yeah.
Come on,
What year did she? What year do you think she did that? Like early '90s tea, maybe, or late '80s?
What a good question. I want to see.
Yeah.
Let's see. When was Patti LaBelle on Sesame Street? When was Patti LaBelle?
It was. Oh, I guess it was there. Huh.
On Sesame.
I guess she came back on there in 2019. She went back on there too. But I think her original one was in the early '90s. My guess is around 1992 is my guess, around that time.
Yeah. But
what's interesting about Miss Patti LaBelle, I saw her in concert either last year or the year before, girl, and she still hit all the notes. She kicked the shoes. Like I told you, I'm a Patti LaBelle girl, even though I'm from Detroit.
Yes.
Like I really, that's my girl, like from way back.
So the other song I was gonna do was, all right. When I feel like I'm loving, kissing, and hugging, I think about you. When my heart starts to burn and I get that crazy and mean, I think about you. I think about you. Oh, I think about you. Because I heard that song late, and I love that song. Did she do that one on the verses? I can't remember.
I don't
think she did do that one.
She didn't do that one of the verses.
Yeah.
I have. It's interesting because she had hits like from the 70s all the way into like the like she still had hits in like the 90s that were on the radio. And then she played Dwayne Wade's mom on A Different World. Like and then plus with the ABC, she stayed relevant to like our generation, which is so interesting because I felt like. Even the current, she became a meme because, like, you know, where my background singer is at, like, you know, people are always like. And then on top of, and then she like on top of that, like between then when her pies came out and they went viral and they were off the shelves in Walmart, like,
you know, she never did anything special for that queen who promoted her pies, right? I think he maybe got a free pie, but I always heard that she never really did it.
Oh no! But you know she's been repping the gays for a long, like she's been standing
she said it on the verses. She said, "I love the gays. I love the gay people."
Way back in the day.
Oh,
she
was
way ahead of her.
You are my friend. I feel like that was like to us.
And I think my favorite song of hers is "If Only You."
Ooh, yes,
how much? Yeah, I love that song. That's my favorite Patti LaBelle song. But I have, it's so interesting though how she stayed. Like I felt like Aretha, even like Diana Ross, and even some of the other girls, even Miss Gladys Knight. Like they let like the '80s, and they were like done with their their careers in the '80s, or at least the core of their careers. And I feel like Patti LaBelle stayed current. Like she went through the '90s. I'm gonna get on A Different World. I'm gonna do like. She stayed current so that I felt like our generation, millennials, and maybe even some Generation Z girls are like most familiar with her in terms of all the divas. Like we know old Diana Ross songs and Aretha songs, R.I.P. But like Patti LaBelle is like almost like our diva or our queen for our generation. That's how I feel. I don't know.
No, I think so too. Yeah, and I mean, I still remember that nasty green trench coat she wore for that I don't know what she was singing for, something for Obama, and where she didn't say hi to Aretha. Oh, but she looked so good. You remember what that was like? That was his first. I thought it was his first term. I think
it was his first term. Yeah, it was like it was
so good.
It might have been like a Kennedy Center honor.
Yeah,
I don't know, or something at the White House itself.
Yeah,
but,
yeah. So that's at the White House.
Oh, so no wonder they always used to shade each other. It was like so interesting, like Aretha and Patti, how they used to shade each other and in various contexts.
Well, it was funny you were mentioning a different world. I think there was something. Maybe it wasn't a different world. I saw some clip going around where Aretha was going like, she's like, I'm older than Motown. I'm older than this, or as old as this. And then they were like, oh, you older than Aretha? She's like, oh, I'm not older than Aretha.
And she's not, because I think Aretha had like a year or two on Patti. They all are around their they're all around the late 70s.
Are they? Because Patti looks so good. I mean, she was up there moving.
She stays more current than the other girls, though. That's the thing about Patti LaBelle.
Keeps her young.
She stays more current. Like she'll be with hanging with Mariah Carey and be on her Instagram. Like she just looks more current. Like even her wig and stuff was more current. Her outfit. She's kicking Louboutins. Like when she was on, she had Louboutins on stage with her. Like she's current. Mm-hmm. And I feel like the other girls like Gladys Knight and all them, they're okay with just being older ladies. Like, but Patti LaBelle is always trying to be newer and current. And I felt like it keeps her more relevant to me. I don't know. Cause I always used to say that like when Aretha Franklin was still alive, and I'm a Detroit girl and that's my Detroit queen. But I used to say to my godmother, we used to talk about Aretha and Patti all the time in particular. Mm-hmm. And like, I'd be like, why doesn't Aretha stay current the way Patti LaBelle does? Like, why doesn't she like, her style, like, why is like, I don't like,
some
why
girls
does she
just
go
lead
like,
into that age and they're like, well, I'm done. That's just where I am. Let me just take a seat.
And I respect that. I respect that too. I think Diana Ross probably looks good for her age too.
She does. I feel like Diana Ross is in the middle where she both kind of leans into her, but she's also like, she just, I feel like there's a timeless quality to Diana Ross.
I do too. And she's a Detroit girl too. I actually live in the building that Diana Ross had an apartment in the 80s, yes. Wow. And her mom used to live in my building too.
Ooh, you giving a lot away, girl. You giving a lot away.
I know. I mean, I don't, what are the girls gonna do? I'm not no real famous girl.
You never know.
Yeah, but like, so I'm feel connected to Diana Ross in that way, but my grandmother absolutely hated Diana Ross. It's so
really?
Crazy.
Why?
And I always wondered if they like knew each other, if they were in the same neighborhood or whatever, and it wasn't even that.
She trying to steal one of her men?
She always felt like Diana Ross was overrated and didn't have talent, and she always stood for like Aretha and Gladys and Patti, but not Diana Ross. It was so interesting. And Tina Turner is a girl we don't give a lot of, that the culture doesn't give as many props to, but Tina Turner's in that.
Well, before we even bring in another girl, we got to at least give some time to Miss Gladys, because she was there. I feel like we talk about everybody,
yes.
but
yeah.
So obviously I feel like we felt like Miss Patti won it, just for the fact that she her touch-ups with that, I don't know where she got that mirror from.
Thousands of dollars.
Got her truck, because she was like, she wanted to feel like she was at at one of her shows, so she had her trunk with different heels on there, and when she had kicked off her shoes, for what was it, Somewhere Over the Rainbow, she had another pair ready to go that she just put on mid-show, didn't even go off set. But there was Miss Gladys was good. I think Miss Gladys
and her
nice.
vocals, Miss Gladys, her vocals live were on point. Mm-hmm. They're impeccable. She has such a low register. Like her voice is so. My godmother always thinks Gladys Knight and Dionne Warwick. She always says my godmother's in her 80s, by the way, so she's like a little even older than them. She's like in their age group, kind of. She always says to her, Dionne Warwick and Gladys Knight are the two classiest women of that whole generation of divas.
Like,
she says
that.
Those two. Whereas, Patti used to be a little bit more like campy. And,
Patti was out there calling someone a heifer on the show. Like, Patti still got that Philly in her. She got that. She got that hood.
She does.
They were messing up her lyrics. She's like, y'all better fix these goddamn lyrics. She she did curve, but she's like, y'all better fix these lyrics. Like, we sung these songs a minute ago. We don't remember these lyrics. So
So but my godmother's always like, oh well, Gladys Knight and Dionne Warwick are so classy. But my thing is this, like, I didn't know who Dionne Warwick was until I was in high school, other than the Psychic Friends Network girl. Like, I didn't know any Dionne Warwick songs. I didn't know her connection to Whitney Houston. Like, I just knew her, like when I was a kid, like, in elementary, middle school, I know Dionne Warwick from the Psychic Friends.
I still don't really know a lot of Dionne. I just know, like, Walk On By. Walk on by, baby, please. Mm-mm.
And then, her other song is, That's What Friends Are For.
Oh, that is a Dionne Warwick.
That's a Dionne, and I didn't know that back in the day. I knew the song, but like as a kid, like Dionne Warwick was like the Psychic Friends Network lady.
You're so hilarious.
Like, I know.
So,
but girl, go ahead. I'm sorry.
So at 10 minutes in,
yeah,
welcome
I know.
to another episode of Two Save Queens, where obviously we had to give some time to the Patti Gladys Verzuz. This is one of the few places where you can find conversation about politics, dicks, and how many guns you need for election night. We're going to get to that.
yeah.
I'm joined by the girl who always stays ready, so she ain't got to get ready, Miss Deveraux.
Always. Hey, bitches. Always ready.
Yes. Always. What's the tea, honey? Other than our obviously having... And I feel like we're now into verse because I know you had said a lot of times on verses they don't sing, but who was it? You? Someone had told me that those girls didn't get the memo because they were giving live vocals.
They were, yeah, because they usually don't really sing live. But Miss Gladys Knight started like she was singing. Miss Gladys Knight was like, "I'm singing." Like
I feel like Patti was singing too. I feel like they were both.
Well, she started after she noticed Miss Gladys was singing, but Miss Gladys, there was some tracks where Gladys Knight didn't. It was just the instrumentals, and she just sang. I felt like there were some tracks with just the instrumentals, and she sang her full verses with those instrumentals.
Yes, she did do that. I think with Patti, a lot of times what they were doing was they would start it and then they would turn it down so that she could sing over her tracks.
Right.
Although they were fucking her up with those lyrics. So that's why I think toward the tail end, she's like, I don't feel like doing this anymore. So I'm going to just listen to my song.
And I think she didn't really, because she goes so high that she wasn't necessarily she thought they were going to just do the,
You think?
You think? I don't think she was necessarily prepared to sing a whole lot that night. And Miss Gladys threw her for a loop, I think.
Ooh.
I do. But not like, not to shade her or anything, just to like, Miss Gladys she thought this is what we're doing. We're singing.
I mean, I will say, for as much as we talk about Patti being with it, I thought it was so crazy that, Miss Gladys Knight was on, you ever seen The Masked Singer where like, different celebrities kind of like they were really extravagant costumes and they sang other people's songs. She was on there and she was so fierce. She was singing like she did like Sia's Chandelier, like, and it was so wild. I never would have thought it was Gladys Knight. And they literally were like, "Why are you doing this? You're Gladys Knight." She's like, I just wanted to do something different and fun. And she's like,
good for her.
Yeah, and she was wearing these like really tight outfits too, like these kind of like sleek bodysuits. Yeah, she's.
And she, Miss Gladys Knight, like, she threw me for a little bit because she, for one, I thought for a minute she was trying to, like, singing that national anthem a year or two ago, that she was trying to, like, down the players who...
Right, I remember you saying that.
Who kneeled for the anthem, and I was like, ooh, I felt like she was saying we should all be standing for the anthem. She was that... But she's a Mormon girl, too. She's a Mormon convert. Yeah. Like, her kids were Mormons, and then she converted behind them, and that... There was some tea. There was
some weird underlining like because Patti's a realist, but there were some moments where she was like, it almost kind of felt like, oh, we just need to talk it out, or we need to like, remember that we're all human. And it's like, no, girl, sometimes we need to put some people down, honey.
yeah. But she wasn't. Yeah, I think she might be missing this social justice and civil rights
but some of the
girl,
but some of that generation is just they are the generation of like, let's we gotta believe, we gotta even just like, we gotta believe that they aren't as Christian bad, that they are still our brothers and sisters, and we gotta look beyond them and see
kumbaya tea. Yeah, Miss Gladys Knight does give a little bit of that. I mean, she kept talking about God, and that's one. I mean, she did, and that was cute. Like I give all glory and honor to God too, but she kept bringing God up, and Miss Patti was like, "Yeah, girl, yeah." Miss Patti was like, "Oh, girl, she's doing this religious tea." I could tell.
She's like, "Y'all just vote." Just vote, y'all.
Yeah, Miss Patti was like, vote, bitches. Like, Miss Patti, that's why she's the girl for me. That's why she's that's my girl. Like, that's my girl from that generation. Miss Patti, she's the one for me.
I love it. I think you're closer in spirit to Miss Patti. Yeah.
For sure. And girl, I wanted to bring up Miss Andrew Gillum, girl. Did you get to see any clips of the interview with Tamron Hall, or?
I'm not. No. I just that whole. I saw the announcement and I saw it happen with his wife. It just was like, and I had to remember. 'Cause I think you told me this too. You'd be telling me this, and I was like, oh, that man got like 3 kids, and I was like, wow, you about to at some point be old enough to know that your daddy got caught in a hotel with this white man.
Yeah.
But it just. Not to say that she needed to disappear. I think that whole thing was messy, but I was like, girl, this is a time for a comeback tour. I don't know. How was it? I just was like, that whole story just like rubbed me weird. And I'm like, I hope that girl got like a good like new deal in place for like, okay, I'm gonna hang with you for a couple more years. You're gonna make sure you pay me out well, and then we're gonna part ways. I can't imagine. Well, never mind. Sometimes black women be standing by these men. So
yeah. Sometimes they do. Like Miss Eddie Long, R.I.P. that passed out of Atlanta. His wife kept going back and forth, and then she ended up standing by him. But he was a queen allegedly.
So what do you think for the interview? Is he getting ready to? Is he?
He's trying to mount a comeback.
Yeah, he is.
He's trying to mount a comeback for sure. And I was listening to Miss Funky Dineva, who I used to. Really feature Miss Funky Dineva.
I've been mixed on her. So I thought she's like a little much. Where you're like,
but her video and Andrew Gillum. I haven't really been following her that much recently, but I used to be a hardcore Funky Dineva girl. Yes, you were. I was back 2011, 2012, 2013. See, I was hardcore, but in the last 7 or so years, I haven't been as much. But anyway, I was watching her video, and because she went to Florida State, and she was in Tallahassee going to college at the same time as Miss Andrew Gillum. And she knew her back in the day, and it was, I guess it was common knowledge among the girls back in the day that Miss Andrew Gillum was messing around with men, way back then. So
I wouldn't be surprised.
So Miss Funky Dineva alludes to the fact that RJ, his wife, already knew, like, she already was down for the count. Like, she was down for the arrangement. And so that was just, so it was just, I think it was more the fact that the way she's probably one of those women who's like, as long as you don't embarrass me, keep it.
That went out the window, sis.
Yeah. But I felt like I didn't get to see the whole interview because I don't know what channel Tamron Hall comes on in Detroit, girl. I tried to find the girl, but I didn't know what day it was coming on. I was like, I just saw,
support
it's not fully
black
online.
Women, Miss
I know.
Deveraux.
I know, but like, girl, it's really, her show is hard to find. It's hard. It's hard to find.
I thought it was on a major network. Oh, okay. Maybe it's on a different
ABC.
network.
It's distributed by ABC, but it's not on the ABC affiliate in Detroit. And I really
got it. Okay.
Yeah,
I got it.
So anyway, it's syndicated. Anyway, so the whole interview is not yet available online. So I just had to look at clips and read takes from it. And the thing is like, and I do want to support Miss Tamron, but I just felt like I wonder if the drug issue. He talked about rehab and going to rehab. But I wonder if the drug issue was ever, like, really fully addressed. I felt like the bisexual, coming out as bisexual, was, like, somewhat of a cover. And, like, granted, I'm appreciative to her, like, owning at least part of her truth. But, like, girl, are you a meth girl? Like, are you a pills girl? Because I feel like there were pills in the room. Like,
was there meth in the room?
I believe, police found methamphetamine. And I think... I know there were pill bottles in those pictures too, like lots of pill bottles, or at least lots of pills. So, and Dineva hit on that too, like, girl, that was a lot of drugs in the room. Like, but Miss Gillum, I guess, said she was just under the influence of alcohol. She didn't take any drugs that night, and maybe just the other girls did.
And those look like those girls who would be doing that kind of stuff, like the girls she was with.
She also denied that she went there for any kind of sexual encounter, but Dineva called her out and said, girl, you knew you was going there to fuck.
She denied that she was going. So was she going there to just hang out with some friends?
She said she was going to hang out with some friends she knew from way back, but he was in his underwear.
I don't have time for that girl.
Yeah.
All right, can we?
So, yeah, okay, we can move
what else
on.
you got? What else you got to say?
That's it.
I guess my final question is, do you think she's going to make it? She's going to spin this?
I think she might be able to go back to like some local type politician tea, like.
But what was she running for? She was
the mayor. She was running for governor of Florida and lost, but she was mayor of Tallahassee and then Tallahassee City Council prior to that, I believe. And I think she could go back to being on, like the way Marion Barry in DC, he was mayor, and then he had the crack episode, and then he went back and got on city council. I think this girl could pull something like that, because I think the black old black lady fish might hold Miss Andrew Gillum down and vote him in. Not no statewide race, because the white people, and he's done on a bigger scale. But
that. Yeah,
but I told you I met this girl I met Andrew Gillum in person before the election for governor in Florida. Yeah. And that motherfucker is fine in person. I'm gonna tell you, he is fine.
Because I was looking at really that some of those photos.
He is handsome, and he's got. I like his whole stature, his body. He's a
girl. I know
man.
you got. You got a chance, honey.
I do. I see. Now I do. Because I didn't really clock her so much. I didn't clock her back then. She gave
you. You're usually
she gave queen energy, but I was like, I wasn't
you
looking
weren't sure.
for that. Yeah. I wasn't looking for it because I just wanted her to win against that hillbilly racist down there that they have for governor now, who is a Trump girl.
Ron DeSantis
girl,
right?
Who got his whole state infected.
Yes.
Yeah, I wanted her to win, so I wasn't clocking for that. But yeah, that girl she's a fine girl. She's handsome. I'm not gonna lie.
Okay, well, keep me posted, girl, on the wedding invitations.
Okay, girl.
Well, I want us to, because we spent so much time talking about Miss Patti.
Yeah, girl.
Gladys, let's get into our main topic.
This is just, we could literally, the girls, this is some serious tea, but we could get this out in 15, 20 minutes, because y'all girls... it is what it is.
Just do it. Just do it. We ain't gotta prep it. All right, girls, here it is, bitch. Get your fucking guns. We're not playing this time. We really telling y'all.
Yes.
So give the girls at least some context.
Well, giving the girls some context. So why y'all girls need to get your guns? This is not a game, okay?
Well,
so obviously,
are you going to start with the Trump knowing the Bob Woodward.
Yeah, let's go back. Let's start there. So obviously, Bob Woodward, a longtime, reporter and writer in DC. He's the one who helped bring down Nixon, exposing Watergate. Like, this is an old white man from way back, right? From the 60s and stuff. But he's been interviewing and written books, best-selling books on every president. And he, is always trying to take a president down, Republican, Democrat. He's always trying to get you, right? It's like he's that type of white man. So Trump's dumbass gave him 18 hours of interviews. Stupid. Knowing how this man took down Nixon, and you ain't shit. You're a corrupt motherfucker. Whose dumbass would give Bob Woodward 18 hours of interviews? But girl, and so obviously Bob Woodward got him on tape in February talking about how deadly COVID is. How it's in the air and it's 5 times more deadly than the flu. While Trump was publicly, Bob Woodward also has this on tape. So he not only let Bob Woodward interview him, this Miss DJT let Bob Woodward record, which is what took Nixon down, right? But got him on tape on February, I believe 7th or 8th, saying, yeah, this is deadly. This is 5 times more deadly than the flu. It's airborne. And yet to the public, when he would go up on a podium, Miss DJT would talk about, it's just the flu and it's the China virus and no need to worry, no need to panic, because of course he was trying to keep the stock market from crashing. Mm-hmm. He ties his fortunes to how well the stock market is doing. And he knew the stock market was going to crash if the girls started getting worried about COVID, which it did anyway before going back up. So
now, ultimately, the Trump girls don't care.
Bingo.
And that can lead us into why you think the girls really need to get their gun.
Because the girls don't care. So because even on March 19th, Bob Woodward has him on tape saying, I played it down. I always like to play it down because I don't want people to panic, right? So he lied to us, right? And that's on tape. And that's nothing new because he's lied 30,000 times or more to the American public, according to, I think, the Washington Post fact checker counter, the lie counter for DJT. But the girls don't care because all his supporters are saying, well, he didn't want people to panic, and that's what a good leader does. He did it for
us.
They're like, anything he does, he could really shoot somebody on Fifth Avenue, and
absolutely
would not care, especially if the motherfucker was black or Latinx.
Girl.
they would like that he shot that motherfucker, whoever it was. Like
self-defense. So, they let that little white boy kill 2 other white people.
They sure did in Kenosha, Wisconsin. That little 17-year-old white boy. So like they're down no matter what, and the reason they're down is because they feel like Trump is their last stand. For white America. He is the last stand for whiteness to be the dominant ideology, the dominant force in America. And if Joe Biden wins, that, really Joe Biden is just the front for AOC and for Kamala Harris and for the squad and for Bernie Sanders and the socialists, and everything is going to get in and destroy, and all the people of color are going to take over, and the socialists are going to take over, and the white people are doomed if Miss DJT doesn't win. So no matter what DJT does, bad, terrible, treasonous even for this country, those motherfuckers don't care. They are down for him no matter what. You have to understand. He's their last stand. He is their white savior, right?
And you've got every place, like whether you look at Fox News, whether you look at like Rush Limbaugh, whether you look at podcasts, you look at what's his face,
Ben Shapiro.
I was even thinking about what's that other dude who just got the Spotify deal. I'm blanking on his name.
Joe Rogan.
Joe Rogan. Even if just that idea, that question, that like that suggestion that you're in danger, there's a threat, that fear ultimately is such a driving force. More than logic, more than facts, more than information. Fear.
Whiteness is conservative ideology is heavily steeped in fear. In otherizing others, right? Otherizing LGBT people, people of color, black people, like otherizing us. And the ideology is steeped in fear. So for them, they could uncover his tax returns and find out that he owes Russia $400 million. And that's why he's always up in Putin's ass and kissing Putin's ass and
still
sucking
be
his
like,
dick.
But look at him. He's making international deals.
Yes. They will justify it no matter what. This is what this is leading up to. Josh Mendelson, who's CEO of Hawkfish. Hawkfish is a data and analytics firm, a Democratic data and analytics firm funded by Michael Bloomberg, says that there's a possibility of a Red Mirage on election night where it looks like Miss DJT, Donald J. Trump has won in an electoral landslide by 400 electoral votes. Okay, and we know there's 538 electoral votes total in the country. The person who gets to 270 wins. And they're saying that it could look like on election night because Trump's voters they don't trust mail-in balloting. They're going to go to the polls in person and vote that day, and those votes are going to get counted first before the mail-in votes get counted. That it's going to look like Trump has won almost every state in the union except New York and California and Massachusetts. Like
now,
go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say I did see a piece. I think it was a Newsweek piece that you shared with me that kind of countered this and. Again, it was like a political. I don't trust any political strategy. Some of these political strategies, because I'm like, y'all have been in it so long that I feel like y'all don't really know how these girls are gonna act. But there was a piece that was like, oh, it's highly unlikely. But I mean, there's something there. Well, basically, like the idea is that certain states, like there are some states where you can find out. So I think Florida, it was one that I saw. Florida starts counting mail-in ballots even up before the election. But there are some states, like I think Pennsylvania, that doesn't start until after.
Yeah. So there was a Newsweek piece. So there was this first sensationalist piece about the Red Mirage came out of Axios, where Josh Mendelson, that data firm guy, CEO, gave that interview to Axios. And the Newsweek countered with another gentleman who's a professor at University of Wisconsin who said, that was a sensationalist piece and that was inaccurate and, and that there won't be a Red Mirage because some of the states, like you said, like Florida and Minnesota, some of the swing states will have counted their absentee ballots starting ahead of time before election day. But like Pennsylvania and Michigan do not. Michigan, where I live, is not going to start counting their absentee ballots until election day. In Michigan, which is a swing state, which went for DJT in 2016, but is definitely a swing state, like it's trending toward Biden right now, but of course it's still a toss-up. They cannot start until election day. It's state law. They cannot start counting those till election day. And the Secretary of State said that our our votes will not be tabulated they won't finish counting our votes until Friday of election week. 3 days later. So there's going to be some days of uncertainty where it's not necessarily clear who won the election. And yeah, Professor Barry Burton from University of Wisconsin said that, the Red Mirage is unlikely, but the problem is he did acknowledge, however, that in some states, like Pennsylvania and Michigan, which are, of course, key swing states, that a Red Mirage, like where it looks like Trump has won in a landslide, is still possible in certain states.
Now, even if this was a sensationalist piece, for me, I'm just kind of happy that it's making so much noise, because maybe it's going to get some of these cable news girls who are so ready to just focus on this as like business for them, as a fun game, for them not to be so ready to say, oh, looks like Trump's won, close a book on it.
Right.
So for them to be, set that context a bit more. Like Miss Fox, she's state TV. She's going to do what she does. But
But you know what's really interesting about her, though? That was the night that Megyn Kelly was anchoring. It was 2012 when Obama won re-election. And Miss Fox, they actually are usually one of the first, whether it's Democrat or their decision room is usually one of the first to make political calls on who won an election. They do it like universally almost every year. More, in fact, sometimes I tune into Fox on election nights because they make calls way before CNN. CNN is usually the last. Like usually it goes in the order of Fox, then NBC/MSNBC, and then like ABC, and then CNN is the last. So CNN is the worst to watch on election night because they make the calls last. Like it's actually good to probably tune in MSNBC and then turn over to Fox now and then to see what they're saying. They called it. Remember when Karl Rove, the assistant to George W. Bush, the political advisor to George W. Bush, had that meltdown in 2012 when Megyn Kelly and Chris Wallace said that Barack Obama won re-election? Is because Fox called it first. They called it before everybody. They called it before the other networks did, that Obama had won re-election. And so I actually will probably tune into Fox for a minute on election night. But again, like Florida, Pennsylvania, Arizona, and Michigan won't have, it'll be almost impossible for the news to call those states on that night. Like, and generally we have to realize it's the news networks that call the election on election night. It's not the states. The states don't certify till days later. It's never the states saying, Hillary Clinton won our state, or Donald Trump won our state, or Barack Obama won our state. It's the news organizations go by exit polling, and they go by the returns that come in that night. And it's the news organization. So they are put on notice that this is a possibility that the Red Mirage is real in certain specific states. But the thing is that they, at the end of the day, like, their calls are going to be delayed by the absentee ballots. They're used to calling election on election night, and they're not going to be able to do that. And so what does that turn into? Well, if it looks like DJT has won the election that night, and then the next morning even, while they're still counting absentees in Pennsylvania and Arizona and Michigan and other states, and Nevada maybe even, then of course his girls are going to say, yes, we won the election. And then the results start turning on Wednesday, later in the day, and Thursday. And then Friday, all of a sudden, Joe Biden is ahead 300 electoral votes to DJT's 2-something, and Joe Biden appears to be the president-elect. What are those girls going to do, Miss Malachi? What are those girls going to do? What do you think?
They're going to calmly accept the results and look forward to, working with us toward making our country truly great again.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right, bitch.
Oh, man.
Okay, so clearly this is the potential for violence from the Trump girls. Like they think he's won the next day because he's ahead, and by Friday it's turned 3 days later and Joe Biden is ahead, and he looks like he's the president-elect. What is likely is that they're going to try to encourage DJT to declare martial law, to use the Insurrection Act, to appoint a special counsel. Roger Stone, who was one of DJT's associates, we had a whole show about Miss Roger Stone. But
who was supposed to be in jail.
was supposed to be in jail, but was pardoned, corruptly pardoned by Bill Barr and Donald Trump, or commuted. I can't tell which one she was, but anyway, she's already gone on InfoWars with Miss Alex Jones and said that DJT should declare martial law and use the Insurrection Act if it appears he's losing the election, and that he should arrest Mark Zuckerberg, Tim Cook from Apple, and the Clintons.
Isn't that wild?
Isn't that wild? And then Michael Caputo, who was a protege of Roger Stone. Michael Caputo is not just a protege of Roger Stone. He is a top spokesman for the Health and Human Services Department under Donald J. Trump, who actually interfered with CDC weekly reports on coronavirus, which is unheard of, that there's political interference in the CDC report. So he's taking some flack for that. Totally corrupt. But he actually went and he actually posted some conspiracy video and made claims that CDC scientists are trying to take Donald Trump down, but also that if Donald Trump doesn't win re-election, or that if we don't, as liberals and progressives, don't accept his election, that all the red girls, all the Trump girls and the Republican girls, that they should use all their guns, get all their ammunition, and get to the streets. And he's telling the conservative girls, the Trump girls, that it's time for violence. So that's what the red girls, that's what the conservative and the Trump girls and the racist white supremacist girls, that's what they're ready for. They're ready for this fight.
The gun sales are up, girl.
They sure are. And it's interesting because it looks like DJT's campaign is already getting ready to rally his girls. He and his allies are using the prospect of a Red Mirage to prepare a betrayal narrative in November, that the thing was rigged and that he really won and that they stole it from him. He's getting ready to rile his girls up.
I mean, technically, I would argue he's already been doing that. Like, he's been saying that, like, by planting the seeds that, like, mail-in voting, which has been around since the Civil motherfucking War, that mail-in voting is corrupt. The thing he does himself, he and his family does himself, that is corrupt and you can't trust it, and that he literally has already said they're trying to steal the election. Like, he's already said it. So I think just by constantly playing this, he's banging that drum over and over again, it creates this truth in people's minds, this sense of distrust that I think is going to be really hard for people to take. Like, am I saying definitely, girl, we got our race civil war here? I don't know. I'm not going to say that. Miss Deveraux might have a different viewpoint, but I think that it's just clear that you just got to be ready, because you don't know what's going to happen. Because I think it just doesn't. There's just been already conservative girls they've just become conspiracy. Like, those girls don't wear masks. They don't trust the pandemic. They're already, Black Lives Matter is Antifa. Like, they already are believing these conspiracy theories to the point where there are people going out and shooting people and killing people and murdering people. So,
and they have guns in bulk. The conservative girls have guns and ammo in bulk, and we need to have guns and ammo in bulk. And I don't think it's a guarantee of a civil war or a race war, and I don't even think this per se is going to be a strictly race war. Like, the other side is going to be almost all white for sure, but like the liberal progressive side is going to be a mix of black, Latinx, white people. It's like it's going to be like a big tent on the liberal side. But do we have enough guns and ammo, girl, in case it goes down? Like, do you girls have weapons at home in case it goes down? Like, I'm not encouraging us to be out in the streets and but if those girls are starting to come down from the hillbilly suburbs and exurbs into Detroit, into Los Angeles, into Manhattan, into Atlanta, and into Chicago, and start, trying to do an insurrection in the streets, girl, are y'all girls ready to defend your home in your streets if those girls come down, the Trump girls, and act out? So you have to be ready for that. I'm not trying to be a scaremonger, but I think the girls need to be armed. But I think you need to be prepared. I was prepared for Corona. I was the one that the girls all came to for a mask.
You were the one that was like, "Hey, girl, could you send me an extra mask?"
I was that girl.
Hey, girl, you got some hand sanitizer? This girl had bulk hand sanitizer for days, bitch.
I was shipping hand sanitizer and Tylenol to Corona girls.
Yes, the girl. I remember you telling me that the girl couldn't even get medicine.
I shipped you some mask in LA, girl. Like,
yeah, okay, you had to call me out there. Yes, you did.
I shipped a Corona girl some pills, some Tylenol in New York to get her fever down. I shipped another girl hand sanitizer and mask in New York. Like, I had the canned food ready.
But she can't ship y'all guns, so.
Yeah, I can't. That's against the law, girl. And that's against all kinds of federal and state laws. So, no, girl, y'all have to get your own guns and ammo, like, and be ready, just in case. You don't know what the Trump girl. And granted, maybe you're safer in LA, in New York, in those super.
So it's worth saying that, like, you know, you living in Detroit and knowing the relationship between, like, Detroit is like the black people in the city versus like the white kind of or even like the outer white people
in the outer outside of Metro Detroit, like way up and deep up north and stuff. And the Atlanta girls have the same issue that the Detroit girls do. And the Philly girls have the same.
But that's what I was about to say. Like, issue. I mean, Philly you think of as like a liberal city, but those South Philly girls, like, they were out there walking around with bats and shit when things were getting heated. So,
and then outside of Philadelphia and Pittsburgh, you're in Pennsylvania, girl. Like, Pennsylvania is Pennsylvania. Like, like outside of Philly and Pittsburgh. So,
yeah, like, Philadelphia is known for, like, Philadelphia, the city is known for being very liberal and blue, but then everything around it being very red once you get out of the city.
Yeah, and once you get in central and western and northeastern Pennsylvania, yeah, girl, that's some tea. So, like, y'all girls in all these cities in red states, and even in LA, girl, those Orange County girls, those Ventura County girls, they can be something else, girl. Those desert girls.
I mean, we had some girls who I think we had some lynchings, like, for all intents and purposes, just like an hour east of LA. So,
I mean, and they're playing with fire if they come into LA or they come into Detroit or they come into Chicago. They are playing with fire, those Trump girls, if they come and try to act out in our big cities. But you just don't know. You don't know because, and so I just think before this election, if Miss DJT I'm more scared, like, if she wins re-election, I actually think, okay, the liberal and progressive girls will protest, but there may be a little bit of looting and rioting, whatever. It won't be, I think if Miss DJT loses is where we run into the violence issues. I think her girls are the violent. They call us rioters and looters, girl. Wait till we see when their white savior goes down, you know, where she doesn't get reelected. Let's see what those girls do. It's gonna I think they're gonna, whatever our rioting and looting was, like, whatever our version of that was, girl, I think theirs is gonna be 10 times worse. I do.
Yeah, I agree. Now I'm curious, girl, if you could see a reality where Biden actually just blows Trump out of the water. I don't think that's realistic because this girl survived this far. Like, I can't believe how close these poll numbers are, but, you know, worth asking, do you see that reality?
I don't see a huge Biden landslide. I think here is the possibility. There could be an electoral college landslide for Biden, but it's going to be interesting. I think the margins in the swing states are still going to be very tight. Like, let's say Biden does win Michigan, Pennsylvania, you know, Arizona, and even North Carolina, and possibly even Florida. That will, his electoral landslide will be a big one, almost like the Obama ones in 2008 and 2012. Yet the margins in those swing states will be smaller, and so the girls in the swing states in Michigan and Pennsylvania and Arizona, the Trump girls, are still going to be mad because Biden is just squeaked out in those states. And there's a coalition on the left that I read about in the Daily Beast. It's called Fight Back Table, and they're preparing for this violence from the right, from the Trump girls. They're preparing in secret, like, they're making contingency plans for, like, what the left is going to do legally and in terms of organizing if the right comes out and they're violent because they're mad about DJT losing. And they say that the only way to avoid that kind of violence, if Biden does have an overall landslide, like an electoral college landslide, but also like blows him out in the popular vote in all of those swing states too. So like where he doesn't win in Michigan just by 2 points, so he wins in Michigan by 8 points. Or in Pennsylvania, he doesn't win by 1 point, he wins by 10 points in Pennsylvania. Then it's less likely we see violence from the Trump girls because they're like, okay, this motherfucker really, our white savior, he really did lose. Like we're you know, but otherwise 1 or 2 points, they're gonna say it was fraud, it was rigged, it was stolen. And even like I said, even if the Electoral College shows Biden won by decent numbers in the popular vote margins, because the New York and California show Biden won by the popular vote by 7-8 million votes, like if the swing state margins are slim, it's the potential for violence from the Trump girls. It really is.
Well, just to wrap this one up, I'll just say I'm gonna get me a gun. I'm gonna do it. I hate it. Sounds weird even literally saying it. But I'm gonna take your word on this one and just have something.
Take my word, girl. When have I failed you yet? When I haven't led you astray yet, girl?
Remember that one time? Just kidding.
Which one time, girl?
We'll take it offline.
Okay.
No, but I think you
be ready
we live
to
in
protect
scary,
your home.
We live in scary. Like it's not about having that gun to actually go out there and go shoot some white people. I mean,
yeah,
we're not promoting that.
I'm not.
We're advocating.
I want you to be able
feeling
to protect
safe
your
and secure.
home.
Yes,
protect your home, protect your block, protect your home. Don't let the Confederate flag girls with the pickup trucks come and shoot up when their AR-15s shoot up your whole block. Like, I'm not saying they're necessarily going to do that, but it's a possibility if they're mad enough about Trump losing. It's a possibility. Be armed. Be ready to go if those girls are about that life. Like, you got to be about that life. So don't start none. Don't start nothing, but be ready to finish.
Hey, if you stay ready, you ain't gotta get ready.
You ain't gotta get ready.
Okay.
Exactly.
End it right there.
Yes.
Ooh, yeah, you did that, girl. So give us some snaps, girl. Pick us up.
Yeah. Well, I actually do want to dedicate my 2 snaps, to Miss Patti LaBelle and Gladys Knight, but also to Miss Dionne Warwick, who came through. You know,
she got out of that crypt. She got out that crypt.
We sleep on Miss Dionne Warwick, but you know that's Whitney Houston's cousin or auntie, or you got to give her respects. And I guess the girls, some old ladies told me, you know, she was one of the first crossover artists where the white people used to listen to Dionne Warwick back in the 60s, like. Because she used to do a show or used to do a set of numbers with Burt Bacharach and had some crossover hits. So yeah, let's pay our respects to all 3 of these divas: Patti LaBelle, Gladys Knight, and Miss Dionne Warwick.
Yeah,
yes.
It was a great. It felt like everybody was watching that Verzuz. It was one. It's going to be a hard one to top. Like Brandy and Monica was good, but I think this was it.
It was healing for us too. I think we're just in such a tough time, like. With, you know, black people killing police and fascism and government and the coronavirus killing us. Like, we got a lot going on. I think this was something we needed. Our community really needed this. Thanks, Miss Tim Cook. Thank you, Miss Tim Cook. Yes.
Yeah. You said black people killing police.
Oh, black people killing... Did I say black people killing police? Yeah. I meant to say...
But it's both happening.
Bitch, I'm not even...
Yeah, we're not even talking about those LAPD girls. They survived.
No, I meant police killing black people. I guess it is happening the other way, but girl, I'm not focused on that. Yeah. Police killing the black people nationwide. Yeah, that's what I meant to say. Sorry. Thanks for correcting that.
So, that's our show. Follow us on social media at 2SaveQueens. Miss Deveraux has been doing some great work on the IG. Did you save that story you did, or that thread you did on Melania? Because you had a...
I did on my personal page. I'll put it. You know what? I'll do it though I'll do the whole thing on the 2SaveQueens on the story.
It was cute. It was a harrowing. Like she really got into her inner dialogue. So I'm really looking forward to when we do our Melania episode.
So I'll post it. You know what? I'll post it on Thursday after the girls have the chance to listen to the show on Wednesday. I'll post it on Thursday on the 2SaveQueens account.
Don't forget to rate us and review us on the preferred podcast of your choice. We've still got some exciting things coming up. One of them got delayed and it's my fault, but I'll talk about it next week. But I hope y'all stay safe, healthy, and saved out there. With that, Miss Deveraux, do you have a final word for the children?
Yes, girl. Okay, so Miss Breonna Taylor's family settled a civil suit with the city of Louisville, multi-million-dollar settlement we're hearing. But girl, do not let that be a distraction to the fact that the cops who killed her have still not been arrested and charged, girl. So you gotta keep on that black Uncle Tom, Kentucky Attorney General Daniel Cameron. Keep on his case about, charging those cops who killed her, because money's not going to bring Miss Breonna Taylor back.
Sure won't.
We got to stay on it. We cannot let the civil suit victory distract us from, getting justice in her memory. Like, we have to get justice for Breonna Taylor.
Yes. Thank you for that, girl.
Yes.
All right, y'all. We'll see you next week.
See ya. Bye, girls.